On Saturday, we've got the return of Matchroom Boxing, and this will be the first installment of Matchroom Fight Camp. These are fight cards which are taking place in Eddie Hearn's backyard, literally, at the Matchroom Mansion, or what's Eddie Hearn calling it? Matchroom Square Gardens. That's what he's calling it now. And this will be the first show taking place there. Top of the bill, you've got egg versus cheese. It ain't an omelette, it's a tear up. Again, Eddie Hearn coming with the banter. Sam Eggington versus Ted Cheeseman. On the undercard, you got James Tennyson versus Gavin Gwynn. You got Jordan Gill versus Reese Bellotti. Fabio Wardley versus Simon Vallily. And Dalton Smith versus Nathan Bennett. Now, I have to confess, I know Eggington and Cheeseman, obviously. I've seen both of them loads of times. I don't know Tennyson and Gwynn. I know Jordan Gill and Reese Bellotti. Jordan Gill, I think he had his first loss last year, didn't he? And Reese Bellotti, obviously. I know Wardley and Vallily. And other than the main event, that's the fight I'm looking forward to the most, is Wardley and Vallily. Because Wardley is an unknown quantity. He's a heavyweight prospect. He's 8-0. He hasn't fought anybody with a pulse yet. And to my knowledge, he didn't have any kind of great amateur pedigree. I know he did have an amateur career, but he wasn't like an Olympian or, winning major senior tournaments or anything like that, as far as I know. So he's really an unknown quantity. Simon Vallily, coming up from cruiserweight, he has mixed in some decent company domestically and what have you. And didn't he fight, who was it that he fought? He fought one of the world champions at some point, didn't he? Or am I buzzing? Oh yeah, he fought Maris Breedis. Of course he did, yeah. He fought Maris Breedis back in 2016. That's when Maris Breedis wasn't a champion, though. Is there anybody else on there? Blaze Manduo. I remember that guy is a journeyman, but he's quite game. Also fought Arfan Iqbal, who was an undefeated fighter at the time. They had a split decision draw, stopped by Craig Glover, but since then he's strung together a few wins against journeymen. Now he steps up against Fabio Wardley. Again, coming up from cruiserweight, he's only 6'2", he's 34 years of age. In fact, if you look early on in his career, yeah, he was up and down between cruiserweight and heavyweight. He's obviously not a big guy at heavyweight, clearly, or else he wouldn't be able to make cruiserweight, but, as far back as, I don't know what kind of shape he was in for these fights, but as far back as, 2016, he was 210 pounds. 2017, 213 pounds, 208. And a couple fights ago, 230 pounds. So is he going to come in that kind of weight against Fabio Wardley? I don't know. But I'll be interested in seeing how that fight plays out. I'm saying Wardley wins the fight because he's the natural heavyweight and also because he's been given a seal of approval by Dylan White. If you step into Dylan White's gym as a heavyweight and get him to sign you, that means that you must have held your own in sparring with Dylan or the other guys in the gym. And Dylan White fight camps are pretty brutal. So, yeah, I'm going to take it that Fabio Wardley can fight a bit or else he wouldn't have got signed by Dylan White in the first place. Not to say that Dylan White's always going to sign people that are going to turn out to be world champions or whatever, but I do think it's a tough gym environment with Dylan White and you have to be able to hold your corner and prove that you've got some minerals, as they say. So I'm going to say Fabio Wardley beats Simon Vallily, but it's going to be an interesting one just to see if Simon Vallily can ask Fabio Wardley any questions. Dalton Smith, Nathan Bennett. I've known of Dalton Smith. I can't remember if I've actually seen him fight. I may have seen everybody on this bill fight before, but I just didn't really pay much attention to some of them. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of this fight card in the comment section below. I mean, if you look at the records, there's no out-and-out journeyman on there, is there? The records the people look fairly well matched. Right, Jordan Gill, 24-1, 14-3, 8-0 versus 17-2, 5-0 versus, it looks on paper fairly well matched. And if you know the fighters, then you know even more. But Sam Eggington versus Ted Cheeseman, I'm going for Cheeseman. I think he's the more skilled of the two. I think he's probably naturally bigger and stronger as well. I know Sam Eggington might be taller, but I just feel like Ted Cheeseman is the naturally bigger and stronger of the two. Maybe I'll be proven completely wrong, and I do think he's more versatile. Going to be interesting to see how Cheeseman approaches the fight, whether he's going to meet Sam Eggington in the middle of the ring and slug it out, whether he's going to box on the back foot a little bit. And the reason I say it's interesting is because Ted Cheeseman obviously wasn't happy. I think, was it his last fight? The L that he took? Yeah, it was against Scott Fitzgerald. So he boxed in that fight against Fitzgerald on the back foot, and he didn't get a decision, and he was desperately unhappy and aggrieved at the fact that they didn't give him a decision. So perhaps he doesn't trust the judges when it comes to scoring a fight where he's boxing on the back foot. And maybe that will lead him to be more aggressive against Sam Eggington and take it out of the judges' hands. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of this fight card in the comments below. I know some people are going to complain. People always complain. At the end of the day, it's a difficult situation. There are a lot of restrictions at the moment for sport. So promoters are limited in terms of what they can actually do. I know UFC has put on some real good fights over the past several weeks. But unlike Dana White with the UFC, in boxing, there is no promoter that has the majority of the top talent. Yeah? The top talent is distributed across different promoters, different networks, and different countries. And therefore, it's very difficult for one guy to put on absolutely stellar, top level, best versus the best fight cards in a situation like this. I mean, even in a normal situation, it's difficult, but in a situation like this, even more so. So as a domestic show, just trying to get back into the swing of things and get the ball rolling, it's a decent little Saturday night fight night. Only 5 fights on the card because that's part of the restrictions. But yeah, I think it's decent enough. It's obviously not pay-per-view worthy or anything like that, but it's decent enough. I'd rather take this than have no boxing at all, right? And I'm interested to see what Matchroom are going to do by way of the production, because they've apparently spent, according to Eddie Hearn anyway, don't know how true this is, but they've apparently spent like £1 million on setting up the facilities at Matchroom Fight Camp, along with the ring and the canopy and all that kind of business. It's going to be a proper production. And I do like the idea of it better than what the other promoters have been doing. You know, Top Rank, they've been fighting in empty arenas. Who else now? BT Sport, empty arenas and all that kind of business. Whereas with Matchroom, it's something a little different. Eddie Hearn's back garden. They got views of London, you know, with the skyscrapers and what have you in the background, and they're going to try and make a spectacle of that. So, you know, it's something a little bit different. Hopefully we get some good fights. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this card and all the points I've raised in the video. It's happening. I'm out.